ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about a number of Good Smile Godzilla singular point items, including one thing not made by Good Smile, but I'm just throwing it in here anyway because I'm not going to make a solo video for it. Anyway, up first we're going to be talking about these Jet Jaguar logo patches here, and I'm going to be keeping them in the plastic because I'm really not going to be using these. I'm not a guy that's really into patches, which is pretty ironic because I bought two of them. No, I essentially bought these for the sake of having them. I like the icon, I like how it's done, and honestly, taking a closer look at these, look at that stitch count, look at the quality of it all. It's actually really, really nice looking. And you know, for the price that I pay for these things, that's pretty cool. I like that you can see an obvious difference between the rings of Jet Jaguar's eyes and the background of Jet Jaguar's eyes. That's really, really cool. I like that it has a major outline to it, and I like that this somewhat matches the base coat of what Jet Jaguar looked like in the anime. Granted, I don't think they were going for pinpoint accuracy when it comes to that, but even if they were, I'd say this is pretty dang close. All that you're really going to get on the back is Godzilla Singular Point, Good Smile Company, 2021, Toho Animation. Nothing really of any major importance back here. Yeah, I figured I'd just talk about these first since they're small and not really all that engaging. So in terms of these two lovely Jet Jaguar patches, I'm going to give them a solid star in terms of recommendation. I'm not going to get too in-depth on this, but I guess if I had to, solid star in terms of stitch count, aka detail, and in color variation or paint, I'd give that a solid star as well. But no, just one singular solid star in terms of recommendation. That's how we're operating today. Up next, we're going to be talking about this black bar, but it's not just any old black bar. When you turn it to the side and you pull at the edges, look at that. We have a beautiful mini folding portrait of that beautiful folklore painting that we saw in the anime. And this little painting over here is probably one of my favorite things that exists within the anime that is actually, you know, viable to actually exist in real life. So in taking a look at the mini version over here, you can see all the little rodans over there, and if you bend it forward a little bit, you can see the parts that was obviously cut off by the printing and the bending over here. But the detail and the recreation of this is just very, very nice looking, very traditional, and I like that. I like that a lot. Ever since I saw this little image, I thought, I want a poster of that because, you know, it's classical, traditional folklore painting looking, and I like that it's in this mini little size over here because once I finally get my Godzilla Singular Point shelf going on, this is definitely going to be a major backdrop. And even though this thing is labeled as a mini folding portrait, when compared to a Movie Monster series figure, it's actually pretty sizable. It's something that something in that scale could honestly use in real life. So I mean, in terms of recommendation, why not, you know? It unfolds pretty easily, it folds up pretty easily, it can save you space if you're, you know, strapped for space. I don't know why you'd be buying this if you're strapped for space. Why did I buy this? But you know, it's a nifty little item to have if you're a Singular Point fan, which I am. And yeah, I'd give this a solid recommend. All right, let's move on to the next item, which isn't a Good Smile item at all. Here we have the Godzilla Singular Point Fanbook. Now, this wasn't put out by Good Smile, but I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and I did just want to skim about it. So this is a nifty little book with a nifty little dust jacket, as you can see. Taking it off, it'll just be the same cover, but black and white. And again, I'm just going to be skimming through this. It's all in Japanese, so I'm really not too sure of, like, what it's really going through. I'm sure it's mostly just major details on the Singular Point anime and all that fun stuff, and it's got a lot of really nice pictures. I feel like a child saying that. But not like, I feel like, you know, I should go through it and show off some of the beautiful imagery that was in the anime. Now, I know that the anime is not for everybody, and I know that there's a bit of a divide in the fandom, and that's perfectly fine. Just like how I hate Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and a majority of the Heisei series, you're allowed to hate this too, especially if you gave it a good old college try. Can't be blindly hating there because then you'd be an idiot. But, wow, I can't not be wowed by this stuff. The kaiju art and their designs and everything. For me personally, I really did enjoy that. It was cool seeing Godzilla kind of melded with other kaiju. Still don't see how this is Gorosaurus other than the colors. But, you know, it's a fun little flip-abouts and everything, and I know that there were some essential summaries of what this covers, but I gotta go through the kaiju art, man. I gotta go through the kaiju art. Look at my boy Salunga. Look at him. Green lizard-looking monkey finally get movie monster series figure next year. Very, very hype. I know that the whole kaiju melding thing that they did, especially with the likes of Megalon and Kumonga over here, and Gigan to some extent, as you can see over here. I know that wasn't everybody's favorite aspect, but me, I really like that they gave these kaiju a whole new life, a whole new lease on life. Yes, it would have been nice to see the likes of like standard Megalon, Kumonga, and Gigan in the anime, but this is an interesting way of doing it, and seeing as how the series is really playing with dimensions, timelines, and all that, who's to say we're not gonna see those guys and gals anyway? We just have to wait and find out. That's my overall typical stance on it. Look, it's Mothra, it's Mothra, it's the moth! And just going through this book, looking at the kaiju, looking at the characters and everything, it's so clear that a lot of love and attention went into this series. And whether you fully agree with it or not, like it or not, that's perfectly fine. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and that's what makes us beautiful. Or something. Me personally, I love this, and I'm perfectly fine with like season 2 taking over the possibility of there being another Toho live-action Godzilla movie, honestly. There's just so much creativity in here, and there's so many wild different concepts at play, that it really does just scratch my itch for what the heck would Toho do with a current-day live-action Godzilla film. And while I don't think they would get this weird with it, I still like the aspect of it all. There he is. Yeah, we were just looking at that. Goji Fish and Harbinger Bird. Talking about 2021's Song of the Year right here. Alapu Upala? Tame Impala? Upala? I'm gonna stop right now. Yeah, since we've pretty much skimmed throughout just like the hearty meat of all of this, I figured, you know, let's just skip ahead a little bit more, or skip back a little bit more. It's a really cool book to have, and since I really don't have too much Singular Point merch aside from the figures, this is definitely something that I wanted to add into the collection and the eventual Singular Point shelf. A lot more notes over here, some early design sketches and everything. Godzilla versus Manda down there in the corner. Very, very cool stuff. Very glad I have it. Goes in and out of stock very rapidly. So if you've been looking for this, definitely keep your eye out on the listing when it comes to Ami Ami and Hobby Link Japan, because this thing randomly went back into stock and I got it with my Bandai HGD Plus set. Just like the anime it's based on, it's not for everybody. But if you're a big fan of Singular Point and you wanted to add a little extra something to your collection, this is definitely highly recommended with another solid star. But now let's continue to my personal favorite item from Good Smile, that being this adorable Baragon phone case that May Kamiya uses. Look at this thing, it's adorable. It's got the flappy rubber noises. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is supposed to be Baragon? Yeah, it's Baragon, canonically, yes. And I absolutely love it. It's a bit of a dust and fuzz magnet just because of the type of rubber it's made out of. But honestly, man, I'm so glad I went back and ordered this, because I wasn't essentially going to get this. I was just going to get the patches and the portrait, but I saw this and I'm like, you know what? I need it. And the best thing about this is it actually fits my old phone. Now, ironically, since ordering this, I got a brand new phone, which this does not fit, but the practicality of actually carrying a phone with a phone case like this around at any given time, it's none too practical. It's none too comfortable either, because this thing is definitely not going to be fitting into any pockets or anything like that. It's something that you're going to have to keep in your hands at all time, and I swear to God I've done this before. There we go. Here's the phone. It's in here. The camera goes right through the eye over there. And this case does in fact add a lot of heft to your phone. And like I said, the practicality of actually carrying this thing around is entirely at the window unless you're carrying a purse or a man purse or something like that around. And even then, lifting this heavy-ass freaking thing up to your ear and talking and walking around like this, it's just, I don't know how May did it, and she did it a lot, but despite the practicality and everything, I like this thing. I'm gonna give it another solid star. The printing is nice, the 3D effect on like the teeth and the eyes and all of that, which I'll do a close-up on in a second, is very, very nice. And I just find it ironic as heck that my old phone works in here. I bought this solely for the fact of having it. I didn't think my phone would actually fit in it because I was so behind in terms of iPhones and all of that. And honestly, it's a lot easier to get out of the case than to put into the case. Just to do those aforementioned close-ups over here, as you can see, they're not separate pieces, but just the way that they were printed and pressed and everything, they look like separate pieces that were painted separately from the base over here. Again, you can see that 3D effect on the teeth and on the mouth. Look at Paragon's little chunker feet over there. It's adorable. You're gonna get a bit of that 3D effect on the nails, not so much the stomach. You'll actually be seeing more of that on the spikes on the tail over here, though, as well as the ones on the head, the horns, and all of that. Yet again, another solid recommend just for owning it, but when it comes to practicality, if you're okay with carrying a somewhat heavy-ish phone in a somewhat heavier phone case, then by all means, go ahead and do so. I mean, personally, I wouldn't put myself through that. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite item out of the lot. But I also just really love this little accordion portrait. I do. I really, really do. Now, I was planning on getting the backpack, but that was like an extra $40, $50, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to use that either. I'm more likely to use the phone case than that backpack, and that backpack is pretty cool. But I just gotta extend a big ol' thank you to Good Smile, honestly. I'm so glad that they actually went about making items from this show and putting them into the real-life computer and making them. It's not a properly constructed sentence, but I'm sticking with it. Clothing is one thing, but patches, mini portraits, and phone cases, that's a completely different realm for me. As I'm more than willing to buy that over shirts and jackets and all that other kind of stuff. But anyway, I do so hope you enjoyed this video, this little Godzilla Good Smile singular point / Godzilla fanbook video thingy. Whatever. I hope you liked the video. That's all I'm trying to say here. Patrons, thank you so much for becoming ShinRobjira patrons. I absolutely appreciate that. Social media and merch pages will be linked in the description below. And once next we meet, I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about the Diamond Select Mini-Mates. All 3 series all raveled into one big old video. Hope you enjoyed this new setup that I have going on here. I imagine the face cam is a lot better now because OBS was just a no-blow. And, yeah, that's it. Goodbye, good night, good morning, good morrow, peace.